Can you verify that I'm recording, Monica?
I do not see that you're recording yet.
It says it's recording.
Oh, wait. Yep, you're good. Sorry, you're behind a little screen thing on my side. Yes,
That's
you're
okay.
fine.
That's all right.
Yep, you got it.
Okay, thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. This is Joseph Antel from Nutritional Information Services. This is my primary business name that I use now. And I've had this name since 1993, so a long time. And I'd like to welcome you all to the webinar today that I teach every Thursday now, addressing various protocols in my book, Adjuvant Protocols for Healing. And those of you in Mountain Time Zone and Pacific Time Zone, as well as Central and Eastern Time Zone, today is Thursday, November the 12th. Since I've started developing this course and these lectures, it takes a considerable amount of time to prepare adequate notes, because there's so much that I want to teach you, and not so much in relationship to what others teach, but what I know, the information that I have learned and that I use over the 48 years I've been working in the nutritional field. And so, and I like to prepare my webinars based on what is concerning me the most as a health practitioner, what calls that I'm getting, certainly your requests. And I just had a request last night on this subject, macular degeneration. And so this is the page from my book that you can order through Saline River Press. And you can get the hard copy of the book, and then all these protocols for an additional $25 one-time fee. You can send these protocols out one at a time. You can't send all the protocols at once. So I hope you're enjoying the book. I use it every day. Things that I can't remember, products that I put in the book that I have forgotten why sometimes. And you're going to see that all the protocols in the book are listed in order of importance. And so here today with macular degeneration is we're going to find out why cruciferous complete is the #1 most important substance that you can take. Oculotrophin, zinc, chlorophyll pearls, which may have surprised some of you looking at this. Why? Well, I'll teach you why. Obviously, there are other products that are highly significant, but people can't, individuals, your clients or yourself or your family can't take all of these. Maybe you would, because this particular condition is so debilitating. So, and once you get into this condition, it, in most cases, unfortunately, leads to depleting vision and, in a lot of cases, blindness. So what I've done is, instead of extracting quotes, I am just giving you the link now so that you can study this through. This is what I do when I teach. I read through what I'm going to talk about. So my intent is to teach you how I teach, and to know your subject, understand more, and be able to explain the subject to your clients. So the overview from Mayo Clinic on dry macular degeneration which is how wet macular degeneration begins. So remember, there's two, there's dry and there's wet. So wet is the final outcome of dry. So let's begin with that. Dry macular degeneration is a common eye disorder among people over 50. It causes blurred or reduced central vision. That's an important word, central vision, due to the thinning of the macula. The macula is a part of the retina responsible for clear vision in your direct line of sight. And this is why you've got clients that say, well, I can see peripherally side to side, but I can't see right in the front. Dry macular degeneration may first develop in one eye and then affect both. And the practitioner called me last night. Her father has it in one eye, which is good. I mean, unfortunate, but good. It's only in one. So we need to get on that with him. Over time, your vision may worsen and affect your ability to do things such as read, drive, and recognize faces. But this doesn't mean you'll lose all your sight. Well, that's hopeful. But again, you're going to see as we read through this and have this discussion that the main factor of why, listen, when I was growing up and in my early years as a practitioner, I don't know about you, I never heard of macular degeneration. Nobody had it. Why is it so prevalent? So we're going to get into that, definitely. And you will see the progression in our society, the health of our society as a whole, as to why this is beginning to be a real problem. And you know, my triad for explaining this is malnutrition, inflammation, and disease. Whether you want to call this a disease or a condition, and it's clear that as health practitioners, we are not trying to cure this disease. It's not what we do. Our purpose is to assist individuals, our clients, in bringing back the nutritional reserves so that the condition either stabilizes or goes away. It does not continue to decline. There is no cure for this condition. The medical profession has nothing. They don't know what causes it, and they don't know how to cure it. We know what causes it, and though we're not curing people, we know how to stabilize and help to bring back the balance of this. So what are some of the symptoms of this, of the dry? Visual distortions, such as straight lines seem bent, reduced central vision in one or both eyes, the need for brighter light when reading and doing close work, increased difficulty adapting to low light levels, such as when entering a dimly lit restaurant, increased blurriness of printed words, decreased intensity of brightness and colors, difficulty recognizing faces. So I'm not going to read all of this, of course, but I wanted to give both of us a feel as we have this discussion. Now, if you want to look at what, oh, I can't do that while I'm still in here. Let me just get out of here for a second. Hold on one second. Fix this here. If we want to look at this, we can see that here is the normal eye, the normal retina, and an oval yellowish area surrounding the fovea near the center of the retina in the eye, which is the region of keenest vision. Do you see this right here? See how it's slightly darkened? A small depression in the retina of the eye where visual acuity is highest. The center of the field of vision. So that macular is more central to the eye. You could see the optic nerve, and I'll show you another visual of that. Acuity is highest. The center of field vision is focused in this region where retinal cones are particularly concentrated. So this image shows the right retina of a patient without retinal disease. The macular appears darker, see it right here, than the surrounding retina. Oops, there you go. Because it has a higher density of retinal pigment epithelial tissues. So when we're looking for nutritional implications, pearls, these definitions, which I didn't know till I was going to present this to you, that epithelial, oh, yes. Here's another protomorphogen that we'll talk about, and remind me if I don't get back to it, is dermatrophin, which Dr. Lee said is really the most underused protomorphogen in his time, but is the most in the top 5 most significant protomorphogens, because so many of the cells in the body are made up of those epithelial layers. And here it is, the eyes. Who would have thought, right? Now, we're talking about dry macular degeneration, and we were looking at that. Age-related, now this starts to happen around 50 years old. It's not usual for it to happen before. Age-related macular degeneration, drusen. Drusen are subretinal deposits of fatty proteins, lipids, that accumulate under the retina. They are yellow in this image. Drusen are one of the hallmarks of age-related macular degeneration. Now, why would the body begin to accumulate these fatty proteins? These proteins, because the tissue is beginning to break down. These are some of the proteins from this retinal description here that begin to leak into the blood. Now, these proteins should not be in the blood. And this is where the immune system, and you're going to see that macular degeneration is now considered an autoimmune condition, disease. And it's because these cells, as they dry out and accumulate in here, get into the bloodstream, the body interprets them as an antigen, should not be in there. The bloodstream naturally holds amino acids where the body selects the combination of amino acids to make new cells. It can't make cells out of other proteins, dead or alive. It cannot do that. And so it creates an autoimmune assault in the blood. It creates antibodies, whether it's a virus, a bacteria, or any protein. And here is the principle of protomorphology. When you take the protomorphogen, instead of the immune system attacking the eye, especially this part of the eye, for some reason it attacks first. It attacks those nuclear proteins that sit in the part of the digestive system, in the lymphatics around the intestinal tract. That's where that war takes place, in that lymphatic. Now remember, you have twice as many lymph vessels as blood vessels. There's a reason for that, because the debris from the blood is sent to the lymphatic system for it to be handled there or be sent back to the liver and from the liver, the kidneys, and out through the bowel. So this is where all of this process takes place. But you can see that if you look at this comparison, This is an eye that is drying out and is forming, is now, as a remnant of that dryness, is creating these fatty protein lipids. And here is normal. So let's go back for a second, back to here. And I wanted to show you, so I don't want to read that, but I do want to go into this a little bit. I can't expand this too much, but I hope all of you can see this, because there's some things in here I want to talk to you about. And you can see where the macular is. Do you see this little yellow rim around here, the back of the eye? You see this? There is that macular, and which, as I say, is one of the layers. And this basically is more toward the middle of the eye. So you don't see the macular toward the front of the eye. But so and you can see the different layers of the eye, the sclera, the
choroid.
Choroid, yes, thank you. You can see this. So thank you. And how the eye actually is set up in these layers. Now, remember, in between these layers, there are blood vessels. And this is one of the problems with macular degeneration. These blood vessels build up and they leak. And that gets into, just remember, leaking blood vessels is wet macular degeneration. Unleaking vessels, but other problems of dryness. And this is all relates, which we'll get into in a second, all relates to nutritional deficiency, all of it. Not only the leakage, the drying out. So very important that we have the visual of this. What are the risk factors, just to finish this up? It's mostly age. This is decades of malnutrition, the lack of zinc, the lack of vitamin A, the lack of essential nutrients in different vegetables, for sure, which we'll look at. So they always blame it on genetics. In my opinion of genetics is it has to do with the nutrition in that family. Whether those genes express themselves or not has to do primarily with the nutrient levels in the first 30 years of life. That first 30 years of life determines the rest of life and what happens there. Aberrant genes are not supposed to express themselves. And then you build other cells based on those bad genes. And I use the example of the shoelace fraying on the edges. But that problem begins in the first 30 years of life. Now, they say that specific races have more, particularly Caucasians, more prone to this. Of course, smoking, because smoking depletes vitamin C, right? You can't build new collagen. You can't build new epithelial tissues or any kind of tissue without that collagen. And smoking destroys vitamin C. And therefore can never, without that vitamin C, not ascorbic acid, that collagen can never continue to weave together in a strong way. And here is the issue of 40% of the people in this country now, obesity. And you will see one other comment made here is diabetes. Well, and as we work on every Tuesday with people, we have to check people's hearts. We have to see how the strength of their heart, how their blood vessels look, because as the heart goes, that is the window into the rest of the body, in this case, the eyes. And so you can read this through again. Now, I wanted to just take 1 minute on, which is another website where they go into what medically they can do. And this is where they give injections into the eye. Now, I'm not going to read all of this. And I'm going to show you a case toward the end of a woman that I worked with who may be on today, not sure. But 94% of people treated with this wet, for this wet macular degeneration maintain their vision for 1 year. Well, what happened after the year? More injections? See, they're not fixing the issue. And what they're injecting usually, from what I could find out, is a saline solution with stem cells. But who wants to have their eyes injected? Who wants a needle stuck in their eye? It's a preventative medicine by injection into the eyes. You should, and this is must be the drug or the medication. If you have an infection in or around the eye pain, redness, known as allergies to any of the ingredients. So they're just making their disclaimer. But that is their answer to this. It's not our answer. And so let's get out of here. So, and the progression of this, as you can see here, is this focal area that is so extreme. Now, there's the back of the eye, and you can see how this grows. See how it starts here? And now look at how, as it matures and breaks down. The focal area of macular hypopigmentation, center right, in older adults is characteristic of geographic atrophy due to dry age-related macular degeneration. And here is a great comparison of the dry and the wet. And my deep thanks to Mark Anderson he's such a great researcher, for sending me these PowerPoints to share with you from a presentation he gave. And this, you can see that as this progresses, that this area of the macula progresses and gets worse, then there is leakage. And basically, it's leaking blood vessels that grow under the retina. So these blood vessels need that integrity. Dry macular degeneration is one of the two types. It can progress to wet, which is characterized by blood vessels that grow under the retina and leak. Oh, I just said that. The dry type is more common, but it usually progresses slowly over years. The wet type is more likely to cause relatively sudden change in vision resulting in serious vision loss. Approximately 80% of the total of age-related macular degeneration cases are dry. However, wet disease accounts for roughly 90% of central vision, I think it says loss down here. So, and this leaking, and excuse me if these visuals bother you, they're very graphic, but these are real people, and this is what happens. Gives you an idea. This is when it morphs into this age-related macular degeneration, the wet. Photograph of a retina affected by wet age-related macular degeneration. This image shows calcified drusen, subretinal bleeding and choroidal neurovascular membrane, back of the old blood and fibrosis, and xanthophyll pigment in the macula. So this is probably the final stage where a person goes completely blind. And you can see, if you've never seen this, this is what it looks. I think we all have been able to imagine what it looks like. But this is the beginning of the wet macular degeneration, and you can see it again here. So what can we do as clinicians? What can we provide? Not treating the disease, but to bring back that balance nutritionally. So, and this product, as you saw in my protocol, is the #1 product. What are carotenoids? So let's get into this a little bit so that we understand what we're offering. Well, and a lot of you may know of these things, but this would be a review for you. Carotenoids are pigments in plants, algae, photosynthetic synthetic bacteria. These pigments produce a bright yellow, red, orange color in plants, vegetables, and fruits. Carotenoids act as a type of antioxidant for humans. Now, I need to clarify, because everything that you get in information talks about antioxidants. But I don't want you to think of it that way. I don't think of it that way. We have to think of it as far as I'm concerned, as that it is cytoprotective is a much better word, because these nutrients just aren't trying to dissuade the breakdown. They are providing protection. It's a very different concept than the reductionist view of things. So I'm not going to use the word antioxidant whenever I read. I only use the word cytoprotection, protection of the cell. Now, there's more than 600 types of carotenoids, and you can go through this article. Some can be converted into vitamin A, which we're going to talk about here in a second, and then the different foods. How do carotenoids work? Carotenoids are fat-soluble compounds. That's very important. And when we look at chlorophyll, you're going to see that fat soluble is a very important range of nutrient that the human body needs, and very scarce in our society now, meaning they are best absorbed with fat. Simple explanation. Unlike some protein-rich foods and vegetables, cooking and chopping carotenoid-rich foods increases the strength of the nutrients when they enter the bloodstream. So chewing your food and cutting it up obviously is good. Carotenoids are a class of two main groups of xanthophylls and carotenes. Both types of carotenes have cytoprotective properties. In addition, some carotenes can be converted into vitamin A, an essential compound for human health and growth. So I'm not going to go into all of this. They explain the different foods that have this and their benefits, other than, of course, the eyes. Now, and here is, again, another PowerPoint that Mark sent me that I thought was very dramatic. The distribution of macular pigments constitute carotenoids presented in scale onto a photograph of a healthy human retina. Look at the color within the body. Isn't that amazing? In addition to being found in many dark green leafy vegetables and colorful fruit, both luteins, now we're getting into going from carotids into the real bricks and mortar, as Mark teaches, the makeup of the macula. So both luteins and zeaxanthin are found in high concentrations in the macula of the human eye. Zeaxanthin is the dominant carotenoid in the macula. The macular, this is about 5.5 millimeters, is 1/4 of an inch in diameter. Okay, so area in the central portion of the retina. It is very important region of the eye and contains the largest concentration of photoreceptor cells, rods and cones, in the retina. As a result, so these are the building blocks, these are the bricks and mortar, think of it that way, of this tissue. As a result, the macula provides the sharpest vision needed to perceive activities, reading and writing, ability to perceive colors. I want to pause here about this, about color. When you have clients that are on erectile dysfunction medications, now we'll get into that more when we could look at that protocol. Drugs like Viagra, there are others. You know them well. You have clients that use them. What those do is they draw the fluids and nutrients to the center of the body. They draw them away from the head and the feet. And when they do that, they cause all kinds of effects. And one of the things is if a person, for instance, has low blood pressure, that man can die, or woman if they're taking them, because the fluids are drawn more down into the center and lower part of the body. This is where they got the idea for this, because they lower blood pressure. So if you had someone with low blood pressure and they're on Viagra, their blood pressure will drop, and some have died. But what they also do related to the eyes is many, and this is a warning that they give, it relates to the color, whether a lot of them lose exactly what it says here. Photoreceptor cells in the retina. Reading, writing, yellow, yeah. And their ability to see color, a lot of them go colorblind, and some go blind from these drugs. So we have to be very careful when we see our clients that say, you've got their case history. It's a very important question to ask if they're on ED medications of any kind. As a result, the macula provides the sharpest vision needed for precise activities and ability to perceive color. That's a great question to put in your initial intake to find out if they're on these medications. Do you have you struggle with low blood pressure? Have you lost color in your eyes? So, in fact, both lutein and zeaxanthin contribute to the yellow hue of the macula. Remember, macular is short for maculate, from the Latin macular meaning spot, the lute meaning yellow. And again, this fact speaks to the uniqueness of lutein and zeaxanthin being the marquee carotenoids concentrated in the macula. Here's another. They've found even another one of these carotenoids. Recent research has discovered a third carotenoid in the macula called mesoxanthin, zeaxanthin. Unlike lutein and zeaxanthin, mesoxanthin is a non-dietary carotenoid that is found in the serum of humans. It is not found in the serum of humans, but only in the retina. The only place in the human body that this is found, specifically the macula. And this has to be converted from the other carotenoids, which I'll read to you. Scientists have found evidence that suggests zeaxanthin is produced in the retina from lutein via an isomerization process. Now, when you buy supplements that have luteins and xanthine that that they're concentrated out, they're not synthetic, but they're taken out of the whole food, they cannot make this conversion into this mesoxanthin. They can't make it. You can't get it from it. It has to be converted from the lutein. And here is where cruciferous complete, they don't do anything to that food other than concentrate it, take the water out, and dry it with low heat. So the difference, if you were to say, well, what about all the over-the-counter stuff that is not helping people, is because it does not contain the ability to create to this essential carotenoid for the macular because they've adulterated it. Just like many of the synthetic vitamins to try to duplicate it, to try to extract one piece of something unknowingly, or either knowingly or stupidly not respecting nature. So this, if you were to ask me, what is the difference? That is the difference. Right, what they're saying right here. Lutein and zeaxanthin are transported from the serum to the retina in equal ratios and then transferred into the macular, where lutein is initially converted into mesoxanthin. In fact, a simple shift of a double bond produces mesoxanthin. And this is where, when you disrupt a pure food, just extracting, you don't get this double bond shift. It is in this conformational similarity that makes it more likely that lutein rather than zeaxanthin is the immediate precursor to zeaxanthin. In summary, the macular carotenoids, also known as the macular xanthophyls, are dietary lutein and zeaxanthin, and their conversion isomer, mesoxanthin. These macular carotenoids comprise the macular, the bricks and mortar pigment that is charged with protecting the retina from harmful influences. And so I hope you get that explanation. You can go back into it in more detail, but unless you use whole organic food, you're not going to get what is inherent in nature that they're finding out now. It's not there. And that's why I've had clients that get on these other products. Well, I don't want to take just kale, it's just kale and Brussels sprouts. It doesn't have enough of it in there. Oh, it has enough. And it has the factor that makes this conversion, where these other products that are higher in lutein and xanthine, they don't have it. They don't have what it takes to make that conversion. And then you can read through these. Kale is considered among the world's healthiest foods and has high amounts of A, C, K. And this is why I like the chlorophyll pearls in relationship to, because chlorophyll pearls, which I'll get into in a second, has fat-soluble vitamin A, E, F, and K. These other, if you use a synthetic A or a vitamin K product that is not, it's not fat soluble. It's just that fat soluble part is destroyed in the processing of a supplement or ascorbic acid C. This is not going to work. Food is the answer, as we've all agreed that it is. So, and then you can look at the breakdown of kale And you can see here how high that in is almost 1,600 micrograms for a small amount. Now remember, when standard process concentrates cruciferous complete, this product, they don't touch it. They just remove the water and they dry it in a low heat vacuum, lower than body temperature. So this is sustained. And these high amounts of these two carotenoids that are so essential are maintained. Now, you're going to see that, as I said earlier, that one of the greatest problems with macular degeneration is now it's autoimmune. You can look all of these up. Antibodies and macular degeneration. The body is literally at some point, I would say at the point where the macular degeneration goes from dry to wet is when you know that the body is really, the immune system now is really attacking those organs. How are you going to dissuade that immune system? Oculotrophin. So you can look all of these up. And I took this just Dr. Lee, because my job for the rest of my life is not so much to prove to you what Dr. Lee said. You can do that by applying the nutrition and see for yourself. And of course, I'll show you studies. And Mark Anderson is great at that. But to understand how Dr. Lee was thinking, what was he using this for? What conditions related to the eye is autoimmune in essence. Now remember, he wrote this, and this is the book. Saline River Press carries it. The best $35 you will ever spend. I read and teach from this book daily. It never leaves my side. It's sitting right here beside me. So you've got to get this book. And I say it every time, but I want for new ones on today. So what was Dr. Lee thinking about the application of this protomorphogen? Complaints originating from the eyes, such as eye strain. What? Fatigue, failing vision, and headaches. Even in my headache part of my book, eye headaches, the #1 product, oculotrophin. You'll see if it is in fact, and I have clients, and I have relatives that have eye headaches. It helps. It helps to bring back failing vision. Strabismus, crossed eyes in children, especially. And it's usually of a spontaneous origin. So it happens quickly in children. Here is how to get that corrected. The #1 product. A combination of defects, near and far-sightedness. And you know all of these children that start school and they have to have glasses. They cannot see far away. They can't see close up, but usually it's far away, they can't see. So here is how to, even if it's progressing, to stop the progression. And here is related, the primary reason why I have this and use this for macular degeneration, aging processes. Now, my question to all of you, was Dr. Lee just using oculotrophin in relationship to aging processes related to the eyes or to elsewhere in the body? Now, when I gave my pineal lecture, I said that some of the cells in the pine that make up the pineal are in the eye. So here is my question to you. and you can argue this with me or discuss this with me in time. If you take oculotrophin, does that help a person with their pineal to sleep, to prevent aging of the brain, or the relationship of the pineal to the hypothalamus and the pituitary? Could you use oculotrophin? I say yes. So Dr. Lee said and meant a lot in a few words: aging processes. Maybe he was just talking about the eyes. I don't think so, because Dr. Lee made it clear that the protomorphogens are the fountain of youth. Usual tissue changes of the eye associated with aging processes. So, but where else? Let's think not only outside the box, let's think of what he was saying, that there is no box. Because his brilliance still amazes me today. Now, I have two gentlemen that I work with that have macular degeneration. Now, one gentleman, one woman, and the woman just passed away recently. She never lost her sight. Both of them were not good supplement takers. She did not die, leave this world blind. Oculotrophin, 6 a day. He just stopped driving in the last year. And he progressed gradually because he wouldn't take anything else. Just a tough old guy, and that's fine. People don't want to do that. But for years, he was able to drive, and they even let him drive at the end for another year during daylight, just not at night. Oculotrophin. And I doubt he took 6 a day. So there's a couple of cases right there.
Chu, could I say something
Yes.
really quick? The eyes are the only two pieces of the brain outside our human skull.
Yes, that's true. That's true. It is the windows of the inner, all of the inner, not just the brain in the inside. It is the window of the soul too, the eyes, they say. So it's true. Both at a invisible standpoint and a visible standpoint. Yeah, very well said. Thank you. The other, and now we always look at, whenever we're considering nutrients for a tissue, my algorithm is you must apply the accurate vitamin, mineral, here we are, and like protein. So we talked about the like protein. Now we're looking at the mineral. Kind of did this backwards today, but that's okay. It's just how I wanted this lecture to flow. Now, this product, I could not find a decent photo yet of this product. No longer has liver as the binding or the chelating factor. They use now they use rice protein. For some reason, I don't know if they couldn't get the right liver that they wanted to, or it got too expensive. So now it's just called zinc chelate. So my apologies for giving you the old name, but the new product hasn't changed other than the chelating factor of binding the chelating it to a liver protein. They've changed it to a rice protein. Now, this is a great article, and when I find these articles, I want to pass them on to you. So I want to just read one. I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's huge. Zinc is an important nutrient that is involved in various physiological metabolisms. Homeostasis is often, in other words, balance, right, is often associated with various pathogens pathogens and chronic diseases, such as metabolic syndrome. Probably didn't know that zinc is a primary for that. Diabetes, we know that zinc is the protector of the beta cells in the pancreas. They have proven that. It's especially your type 1 diabetics that they have just so many of the beta cells are gone now. You've got to maintain whatever they have. And of course, type 2, you don't want any others breaking down. So it morphs into a more severe escalate of diabetes and related complications. Zinc is present in ocular tissue in high concentrations. This is why I've said to you, there is more zinc in the eye than just about anywhere else in the body, particularly in the retina and the choroid. Zinc deficiencies have been shown to affect ocular development. So in pregnancy, this is why I like to use Immuplex as a multivitamin, because it has zinc in there. B12, folate, all of the other essential, most of the essential minerals, other than calcium and iodine, but in B vitamins. That's why I like to use it. If in pregnancy, you've got to get zinc and iodine into women, for sure. Cataracts. Oh, wait a minute. You're saying that if I take enough zinc that the cataracts won't form as quickly or at all? Yes. Age-related macular degeneration, what we're talking about today. Even diabetic retinopathy. Wow. You mean it prevents a person with diabetes from going blind? It can help. However, the mechanism by which zinc deficiency increases the prevalence of diabetic neuropathy remains unclear. Well, I don't care what they don't know. I'm concerned with what we do know. In addition, due to the negative effect of zinc deficiency on the eye. So zinc supplements should prevent diabetic neuropathy. However, limited available data is not always support this notion. Well, these studies, they literally, they stir themselves into a corner of nowhere with these studies. All they do is, oh yeah, well, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Well, what does work? Our study is our living use of these, of understanding this language and applying it. That's our study. I've been running studies with standard process for 48 years. Is that enough? It is for me. Therefore, the goal of this paper was to summarize these pieces of available information, prevention of retinopathy, current theories. All right, so the other thing that I wanted to do is read just what our topic is today. Now you can read this whole article. Age-related macular degeneration is a leading cause of visual loss in older adults and is characterized by accumulations of membranous debris on both sides of the RPE basement membrane. So what is the RPE? That's the retinal pigment epithelium. So which nourishes retinal visual cells. So those macular cells. So that's the membrane, the area where a lot of those blood vessels are. That's what they're referring to. This condition is thought to result from lack of integrity in the cell, stress in the cell because of nutritional deficiency, and zinc deficiency is involved in its pathogenesis. It has been demonstrated that zinc and MT, what is MT? Well, they say it's an antioxidant. It's not. They always say this. And when you go into it, it's called METALLOTHIE, thionein, which is an amino acid. It's a group of amino acids, primarily cysteine. That's what it is. They say, oh, it's an antioxidant. Well, what are they talking about? You have to be more clear in what you're telling me. What is it actually? And this cysteine is an amino acid that is in protofood. So very important. Lysine, cysteine, all of those are those amino acids. Remember I said our society, those 1 through 30, not having the full 22 amino acids over decades and decades. It's gone. The body doesn't have that amino acid or that group of amino acids to make new eye cells. It doesn't have it. It's not there. Some studies have reported that MT3 play a pivotal role in an endogenous neuroprotectant against light-induced retinal change. If you don't have all 22 amino acids, everyone, you cannot make specific tissues in the body. The body has to be complete. Food is the answer. Protofood gives you those 8 essential. These isoforms were unregulated in the murine retina by light exposure. The light-induced retinal damage is exacerbated. So I don't want to keep reading that. Oh, I was down here, right?
They're using metallothionein now for Alzheimer's and Parkinson. It's a whole hot field now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Because all of these nutrients, these micronutrients that seem to be so unavailable are available. And we can provide that for our clients and for ourselves. So I don't want to keep reading from this, but I would just want to finish here. In addition, it has been suggested that zinc supplementation prevents the appearance of age-related macular degeneration and decreases the progression of the dry form of the disease. This is what I really wanted you to get. Your client comes, oh, I have dry macular degeneration. Okay. This older gentleman I'm going to work with this practitioner tomorrow. Okay. Believe me, he's going to get zinc. He also needs the zinc for his prostate, for his pancreas, other things. Yes, but specifically the eyes. So anyway, it's a great article. I loved reading it through. I didn't understand half of it. You have to read it through a couple of times. So what is the vitamins? So we've got the zinc, we've got the ocular trophin. What are the vitamins? Now, I put 3 here because what I'm going to consider with you to finish up here, we have to understand that different practitioners like different supplements. I like chlorophyll. I take chlorophyll. I like it. Obviously, we all take Cyruta Plus, which we'll get into. And you'll see what Dr. Lee says. You need A and C naturally occurring. But let's look at chlorophyll first. And this, again, is out of that products bulletin. Vascular changes. I want to look at this with you. You know, John Courtney taught me this years ago, and I forgot it until I looked these up. So the this long word, telangiectasia, to see it.
Telangiectasia.
Wow, you guys are good. This relates to, and most of you have had these or have them, is spider veins. Did you know that? That's what this is. Chlorophyll pearls. You're saying, Joe, chlorophyll? Yes. And John Courtney said it works great. I forgot about this. This is why I love teaching all of you, because it brings me back to my teaching so many things that John taught me that I've just forgotten. It's here. Lee taught him, he taught us. Mark and I and one or two others, and the rest are gone from John's teachings. What about this condition? Somebody want to pronounce it? So this particular condition,
Which one? Petechiae?
purpura, this one, purpura.
Purpura.
Yeah, purpura, right. This particular condition is, do you ever, you've got people with spider veins, but do you ever see these people that have like a purple discoloration in spots under their skin, maybe a little on their face, maybe on their arm or their leg? And they say, you know, they call you, what is this? This is a deficiency in the fat soluble vitamins, A, E, F, and K. There it is, contained in the chlorophyll. And then petechia, as somebody said, this is, people are always asking, I've got clients with these brown spots on their skin. This is all, the three of these is vascular changes and breakdown under the skin. They don't usually morph into anything. Sometimes they can morph. This one particularly, where they turn brown, can morph into skin cancer, yes. Just so we understand, but it's chlorophyll pearls is the primary product. And these vascular changes that take place in the eye, why are these little tiny capillaries breaking in the eye and destroying the macula? Because it's deficient, not just in the vitamin P factor that we'll get to, but also the real fat soluble vitamin A and K. And here it is in this product. Hypertension. Who remembered? I didn't when I did my hypertension that chlorophyll pearls helps with that. Acne associated with menses, very healing, by the way. Any type of skin or gut ulcers. Kidney dysfunction, also bladder invitation. Why? The kidneys are so vascular. Toxemia associated with arthritis. So because it has that substance that neutralizes guanidine, which is tied in with arthritis, coronary sclerosis. All of this related to these little tiny blood vessels, excessive menses, nosebleeds, colitis, gastritis, stomach. And so he gives you, which I'm not going to read, I just love to read how he was thinking. The reason, capillary integrity. Okay. So, and of course, related to the eyes and the retina, which all ties in with macular degeneration. Here is when you lose what's called visual purple at night. If you cannot see, or if this type of look at night. Now, a lot that have had radiokeratotomy or some kind of eye surgery related to their vision, they say, oh, I have this glaring at night. It's not because of the surgery, everyone. The surgery brought that out. The laser surgery brought that out. Well, that's just because of the laser surgery. No, no. That is a vitamin A deficiency that more than likely the radiokeratotomy, which was the original, or the laser now, has depleted the tissue even more for some reason. So here's the other in when you see these bloodshot eyes. Now, you know that I've taught you that it's cataplex G that is the primary product, yes, but also vitamin A. I would point out to you that, do you see this whitening area around the outer edge? Now, if you study Dr. Jensen's work, this is the beginning signs of hardening of the arteries, arcus senilis. See it here? And if you study Jensen 2, this down in here, which is hard to see, but when I blew it up, I'm like, oh, I have to share that with all of them. This is indication of kidney, some kind of breakdown in kidneys, right? Right in there, see it? That's right at 6 o'clock. So if you study iridology, and Bernard, I took his course years ago, you can see it. So dryness in the eyes, the conjunctiva, the cornea, this is all from dryness. We see this a lot in Colorado and other states that have the dryness here. You know, we only get 13 to 15 inches of rain a year. It's very dry here. Arizona. Conjunctiva becomes dry, thick, and wrinkled if untreated. It can lead to corneal ulceration, ultimately blindness as a result of corneal damage. Vitamin A. Is synthetic vitamin A going to fix this? It's not. It's not. And that's why I like the chlorophyll pearls. Here's another. Vitamin A deficiency due to selective eating is a cause of blindness in a high income setting. A lot of junk food, even in the wealthy. Granulated eyelids. Now, the reason I put these in is because all of these outer conditions give you indication of the inner part of the eye that's beginning to fail. Let me just read this. Granulated eyelids. And you could say, well, Joe, that's just an outer thing. And it's what Dr. Keim just said. The outer always reflects the inner. It's the part of the brain that is exposed to the outer world. Well, that is simply a case of susceptibility, that the patient is subject to infection. He doesn't have much resistance. The thing to do there is to see that he gets plenty of vitamin C, A, not ascorbic acid, not synthetic A, and C, number 1. That will clear it up overnight as a rule. He should have calcium, and Lee used calcium for almost every kind of infectious condition, of course. He should have calcium lactate that gives him resistance also. If you want to go further than that, the thymus hormone, he calls it a hormone, the Thymex, will stimulate phagocytic activity. This is particularly spectacular in a patient with infectious glands, infectious lymph glands. The Thymex goes to work very promptly in stimulating the phagocytic cleanup of any such infection. Remember, all of that infection in the blood, the body is not going to keep it in the blood. It's going to throw it in the lymphatics to be processed out. That's the sewer system. That's what the lymphatics provide. That's why there's twice as many as blood vessels. We've often seen patients tell us those glands start to go down and the pain go away with them practically overnight. So this is why when I've said to you, which product? Now, in my book, I put chlorophyll in my protocol and ACP. Now, if you talk to other practitioners, Mark Anderson, others, Dr. Keppel, Dr. Gaeta, they might say for the eyes, more of the P concentrate, more of the rutin factor, which is fine. And I'll read to you toward the end here why that's so. What is my answer to you about what the choice? Rotate them. See where you get the response. See which one that particular client needs most. Now, ACP has the A, has the C, not ascorbic acid, and it has this a little bit of the Cyruta+. It's about a third of each. So this is a really underused product. I had doctors, when I first started, when I was in my 20s, around up in Maine. If someone got an infection, they used ACP and calcium. That's all they used. Now, Lee talked about Thymex. We have Imuplex now. We have other products, Conjuplex. I didn't have those back then. Those came along after. So, so here's a case study I wanted to show you. And yes, let me just take her name out. But she's a practitioner from Texas. I don't know if she's on today. She was so gracious to share this with all of us so that we all could learn. I just wanted to share with you what happened to me. I was diagnosed with ARMD, age-related macular degeneration, September 2019. I started eye injections. My God, now I'm going to show you photos that you may not, hope you just didn't eat your lunch, in September 2019. Retina specialist completed 3 injections in left eye and then started on the right. I finished the right eye 3 weeks ago. And at that time, the left eye had regressed and was worse than before the injections. I was scheduled March 6th to begin step 2 of treatment on the left eye. But upon testing, the age-related macular degeneration had cleared completely, and there was no need for further treatment. Both eyes showed no sign, both eyes, of age-related macular degeneration. Was it the injections? I doubt it. Even standard process and Joseph, enter standard process and Joseph. I began the protocol in January after you read my HSR during a webinar. After 7 weeks of age-related macular degeneration was not only halted, it had reversed and was no longer present. I just thought you might want to share this on the HSR webinars. The following is the protocol you recommended. I added zinc liver chelate because I remembered you saying the eyes have more zinc than anywhere else in the body. Here it is: cruciferous, G, bilberry, oculotrophin, zinc, and turmeric. So these were her. Look at the injections. Is this what you all want? Terrible, huh? Terrible. And then this was October, mid and late October. Then by the beginning of November, with the supplementation, you can see. So this is just to finish up here. Oh, I've got a few more things. I hope I've gone over time, but it's a great conversation, I think. Now, in diabetic retinitis, it has been tremendously useful. There's no known cure nor remedy for diabetic retinitis. Here is all part of that retina breakdown, in which macular degeneration is part of all of that. When the capillaries start to break down in the retina, why the patient is on their way to being blind. And we can stop it in its tracks with a very small amount of Cyruta, which is the trade name for the buckwheat, or Cyruta Plus. So, and then Mark gave me these: capillary fragility and diabetic retinitis, the use of rutin. You can look these up. Beneficial effects of phytochemicals in diabetic retinopathy, experimental and clinical evidence. Because when you get all of that sugar in the bloodstream, the first things that begin to be damaged and destroyed are the small capillaries. That sugar is so powerful. It is like a fire that just burns them up. Rutin, a flavonoid found in plants such as buckwheat, all the others, is benefits for treating various chronic diseases such as cancer, diabetes mellitus, hypertension, and hypercholesterolemia. Several studies have reported on the efficacy of rutin for eye diseases. So other things as well. So in the protocol of also consider, obviously I put in the ACP. You could write in your book there Cyruta Plus as well. You could use ACP or Cyruta Plus. depending if the client says, well, I don't want to take chlorophyll and Cyruta Plus and some form of vitamin C, then just give them the Cataplex ACP. Simple. I wanted to show you this one article, yes. So, and I'm not going to read all of this, but where is the part on the eyes here? Maybe I can't find it. I'll let you read about this, but the important thing is its effect. I'll read this. What if there was a single plant that could help you concentrate at work, reduce post-workout joint pain, minimize varicose veins, and give you glowing, calm skin? Turns out this powerful little herb isn't just the stuff of healthy gals' dreams. It actually exists. And you're about to start hearing its name, Gotu-Kola, a lot more often. Practitioners of Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine have revered the plant known as that name, Indian pennywort and tiger grass, for thousands of years. But it's also now beginning to infiltrate Western world, specifically its coping skincare products. And impressively, for one thing, oh yes, studies show that Gotu-Kola promotes cerebral circulation, which helps with focus, concentration, and memory. It also has a sedating quality, so it's really helpful in calming the mind, which we all need right now. So, and then they go on, it talks about the little capillaries throughout the body, and especially the eyes. So what I really love about Gotu-Kola is that it protects our existing collagen and helps create the building blocks of new collagen. So you enjoy that article. And then the other, of course, is the bilberry. Now, you wouldn't use all of these products, but with macular, you've got to use the 3, and then you could rotate some of these others. You rotate the Gotu-Kola complex in, or the straight Gotu-Kola liquid, or bilberry in. And I've often talked to you about how you've heard of pilots' miracles. You probably heard of the stories about World War II, where pilots in the British Royal Air Force ate blueberry preserves before flying, crediting it with improving their vision when flying night bombing runs. The bilberry was improving their eyesight. And these are the OPCs, those carotenoids and other factors in there. It is the one thing to read about bilberry in an herb book, but it's quite another to hear a pilot tell you the same thing in person. Here's your study, everyone. Do we need all of this research? Why don't we just listen to people and find out what they took and improve their results by what they took? The pilot he knows gave great confidence in bilberry to improve their vision. So you will enjoy that article. What I wanted to leave you with today is also in my book, I talk about in the very beginning, I give you a quote from Dr. Lee here. And you can see that in many of my protocols, I give the quote from Dr. Lee. Here he talks about the vitamin A significance, the eye palming in the appendix that I'll finish with, the Bates eye exercises, which stimulates, when you do eye exercises, it stimulates circulation. So, and the famous Dr. Bates, improving eyes without glasses, or using pinhole glasses. Now, I have a set of pinhole glasses because my mother maintained her eyesight till she was 90, till the day she died, 91. So these you can look at, you can try to find, you can get these online. I think I have a couple sources that I give you. and you just put them on and watch TV with them on. You got to get used to that. And they strengthen your eyes. They bring more circulation in. And this is why I've also said to all of you how important it is that we get out and exercise every day. We do things that in our life that helps with circulation, especially to the areas of the body that that peripherally don't get that quality of good circulation and nutrients. So eye palming, which was taught to me by my grandmother, use for soothing, healing focus of energy through the palms of your hands. Sit quietly at your desk or table. With elbows on the surface, place the palms of your hands over your eyes. Rest the open hands of on your face with as little pressure as possible. So don't be pressing your palms against your eyes. This technique can be used once or twice daily for 15 minutes. And I have had clients over my career that maintain doing that once a day, 10 minutes. People in their 90s that after lunch, they would sit down or lay down and just place the palms of their hands over their eyes till they fell asleep.
Do your eyes need to be open?
No, your eyes are closed. I should have put that in there. Good thought. And just let the, you could pray, you could meditate, you can bring in whatever universal energy you want and focus it through your palms. It's a key area of energy that comes through your body, through the palms. And so it's a great way to soothe any part. You know, usually when whatever we have, a pain in our stomach, what do? We put our hands over there, right? Yeah, that's very accurate. That instinct to do that. And it's the same, especially with the eyes. You can do it over your ears as well, any place in your body. So I think that's enough. I've given you quite a bit of information, and I went, of course, over my time like I always do. But for the next little bit, I'm happy to take any questions that you have.
Joseph,
Yes.
can you go up to the eye anatomy slide?
Yep. This one?
No, the eye anatomy in the beginning. First few slides.
Yep. I didn't realize I put so many PowerPoints in it. Okay, no, that wasn't in this one. That was in, where is it? This one here?
Yes.
Yes.
The top here.
Okay.
So the aqueous humors is the area where you have the highest concentration of vitamin C than any other fluid in the body.
The vitreous humor right here?
Yes.
Really? Wow, I did not know that. Thank you for telling me that. Wow, I could understand that. And that's why, that's why diabetics go blind. Because if you have sugar in the cell, vitamin C can't get in there and maintain the integrity of those small blood vessels that are in that area. And there's a lot of them in the eye. And that's what happens with macular is those small blood vessels burst and fill up. We showed you that other photo, but did you want to say anything more about this?
Yeah, no, and just with the zinc, it plays a role in, the T4, T3 conversion, the production of TSH. It's also involved in the intestinal permeability. And also people that come in with low alkaline phosphatase, you have to look at zinc.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Zinc has so many hundreds of functions. It's pretty amazing. Yes. But as you say, these various parts of the eye, specific nutrients, I'm sure it'd be great to make a chart of something like this and where, as you say, the concentration which nutrient is highly concentrated in which area. Yeah, that'd be cool to do. But I mean, you look at everyone, I know this one's not comfortable to look at. Look at the damage into this eye. This is all microcirculation damage. This is all capillaries that have burst over time.
Joseph, what if
Yeah.
someone is gluten intolerant or gluten sensitive? I've been trying to search because I know you said you didn't really like the cellular vitality very much, but it doesn't even, it has berry seeds, but it doesn't even comment that it has actual vitamin C. What's your most appropriate? I mean, I know go to cola complex because that's a good one, but as far as nutrients from standard process, C without gluten, I'm having a hard time.
Cellular vitality has gluten in it? Is
No, I'm saying that it has a lot of seeds listed, but it does not have seeds, S-E-E-D-S, berry seeds, but it doesn't have C as part of the nutrient. So I'm a little confused and I just want to know, is it a high level of C or is there C in there? I'm assuming because of the seeds, but it only lists vitamin Bs on the actual nutrients.
Well, if there was any significant amount of C, it would be on the label because legally they have to put it on. So more than likely, Tanya, it doesn't, unfortunately. Yeah.
So what is your source? Because I'm running into an issue with when patients have issues with their gut, of course, then they have issues with their eyes and their brain and their stroke issues. And
what source, what do you want? What nutrient do you want? And I'll give you the source.
Oh, C, but without gluten.
Oh, okay. Well, so Cataplex C has gluten in it?
Yeah, they all do because they all have the wheat, correct? Am I incorrect there?
I don't have a catalog right here. Let me just see.
Because everything lists.
Actually, Mark was teaching us that the highest amount of C naturally is ferrofood. So
Ferrofood. Oh, but I bet that has.
And rosehip is awesome. Rosehip tea, you know.
yes.
I'm just trying to find a standard process product that I know that I can rely on for my patients with stroke sensitive, but they're
Well, the simple answer is Cyruta Plus. There's no gluten in Cyruta or Cyruta Plus.
There isn't?
No. I got my book out. Let me look it up for you. No, pretty sure. Cyruta is GF and Cyruta Plus is GF. They both are gluten-free. So there you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and now that's going to be a higher concentration of rutin, hesperetin, and quercetin that's measurable, but it has the whole C complex, but it focuses on that P factor that helps with these small capillaries. So there's your answer to that. Yeah.
Thank you, Joseph. Love you. One more question here. When you're mentioning, well, actually two more questions. When you mentioned the zinc liver chelate changing to zinc chelate, why I got confused is even though the filler at the bottom or the binder says it's no longer liver, the first ingredient in the propriety blend is still liver. I'm not sure why they changed the name because it still is liver in there.
Does it say on there, I don't have that new label. Does it say about rice?
It does in the other ingredient, zinc amino acid rice chelate instead of liver chelate, like you said, but it does have liver as the propriety blend. The first ingredient is liver, then beet, carrot, sweet potato. So I think they changed the liver to not make it so obvious, but I think the liver is still the main ingredient. So I was just clarifying that.
That is a great question. And I don't know. I'm still finishing because I always buy, I take zinc liver chelate every day or every other day. I take 2 just as a maintenance. And so I'm still going through my old bottles. I haven't gotten a new one yet. So that's a good question. And I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. And then
you can call them too and let us know, but I can find out for you.
And I just wanted to tell you a little thing that I was noticing when I have, because you had mentioned that I think before pumpkin seeds have a lot of zinc. So sometimes I'll tell patients if, after we get to them to a certain level with the zinc chelate, then they can start eating that. And it's interesting, the zinc taste test is really bitter. I've noticed that the actual pumpkin seed butter or the pumpkin seeds taste really intense So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that I'm actually getting better with my my saturation of zinc
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
body.
well, that's a test. Instead of using the zinc oxide for the whatever they use the chemical for the test. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And just remember, zinc is this is Joseph's rule of thumb. I mainly use this product for men because they need higher concentrations because of their prostates. Women, especially cycling women, it's okay to use the zinc chelate for a while, but eventually they should have a combination so you don't deplete there's 3 minerals that can deplete each other, which is zinc, copper, and iron. So Chezyn, Chezyn, is a global product that can be used after you do a few weeks, a large bottle of the zinc chelate. Also, you can use trace minerals B12, have all 3 of those, and or Immuplex has all 3. That's why I love Immuplex for that, not only that global immune alliance, but there is so much in that product in very small amounts, but food levels of those substances. So,
Joseph, I have a question, another question about the zinc chelate.
yes.
In the manual, I think it says that it's for short-term use only, but now you're saying you've taken it every day or every other day. So
Well, I'm just saying, Joseph's rule of thumb is men can do it all the time. I don't need iron.
okay.
And I take Immuplex anyway. So, but I also take extra zinc. So, but women, women should not take that, in my opinion, over the long haul. So it's different for men than women.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay.
And Joseph, what did you say about the computer screen that bringing more circulation in when you're looking at computers, or did I misunderstand what you were talking about?
When did I say that? I forgot what I said.
Towards the end, something about more circulation when you're watching something. You were doing.
Oh, when you're watching TV with the pinhole glasses, yes.
Pinhole glasses, is that what they're called?
Yeah, and yes, and that's a good point. I didn't say that, but you can use the pinhole glasses while you're on the computer so that the radiation, because you're so near the screen, the pinhole glasses do not, I mean, the radiation from your computer screen does not begin to break down your eyes, because that can be a real irritant. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's on page 401.
Great. Yeah. Do I give a source of where you can buy the pinhole? I think we looked at,
Vitamin.com.
yeah, there it goes. Yeah. Yeah. Pinhole glasses. You all should invest. Just, of course, I'm always saying you should do this and do that, but this is fun to do. And you'll see an improvement. Now, I know that almost all of my friends that are 65 to now 75, they say, Joe, what can I do? I'm just gradually needing a stronger and stronger and stronger just for reading. Like me, I went from a 1.5 to a 2, and I haven't gotten any worse because I take my Oculotrophin 3 times a week. But I'm gonna, as your vision dims as you get older, things like this will maintain it. I tell you, both my mother and father use these pinhole glasses. I have my mother's pair sitting right in the kitchen here in the drawer. So,
Joseph,
yes.
thank you for this information today. This is so pertinent because this applies to all degenerative neurological diseases,
Yeah.
whether it's Parkinson's, Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
MS, ALS,
Yeah.
Lyme disease, especially, which is my
Yeah.
specialty.
Yeah.
And the spirochetes, the infection is the deepest in the retina in
Right.
a lot of patients.
Oh,
So
I did not know that. Wow,
yeah,
that is interesting. Yeah.
this is where you get all the crusty eyes and all the
Yep.
eye problem and so forth. And
The
this
drainage.
is
Yeah.
critical information. So this is really awesome. This goes beyond just looking for somebody that has macular degeneration or some eye vision problems. this goes with degenerative neurological. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Thank
and you know, and as we go through these different conditions, I'm not going to do 2 or 3 conditions in 1 hour, an hour and a half. I want to focus in on one condition. Obviously, as Sue is brilliantly saying, it ties in with others. We will look at some of these and a repeat of some of these different slides and protocols and studies over time. Yes, because it does relate. Now, I did not know that about Lyme. That is, I wondered why my Lyme disease clients have all said my eyesight is going. I wondered why till this moment.
It's the lowest
Never-
area in the body for oxygen. That's why they hang out up there, because it's an anaerobic bacteria. So like I say, this crosses into Parkinson's and
Yeah.
MS and ALS and
Yeah.
lupus and autism. This is huge. So
Yeah.
this is a fantastic lecture
Yeah.
and what to do to help all these patients, not just eye problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Eyes
Bill-
are huge. And it's so interesting as you get older and you have grandchildren, and even if you don't, just be the one thing you want to have, the 3 things you want to have as you retire, you've worked your butt off all these years, you want to be able to see and hear and have your mind. Who cares about the body? I'm fine to be in a wheelchair if that's what it comes to, but I want to be able to see and hear my grandchildren and play cards with them. You know, this is what I'm saying. You know, I really just feel the last 30 years of life should be where you just savor the meal that you've prepared for yourself and worked and paid your bills off so you can just finally relax, not end up where you can't see, you can't hear, you can't think. Anyway.
Joseph,
Yeah.
you were just saying that, and then Sue Massey brought it in. And of course, Ayurvedically in Chinese, acupuncture is the liver, the eyes, the window to the liver. But having said that, when you've mentioned it before, short term, Liviplex would be a great product to implement as well, especially if they have a Lyme's or something, because it has the zinc and the iodine and the copper and the liver and has all of these things you're talking about and some C. So
yeah, that's a great, Liviplex is a great product. My comment on Liviplex is this: if you take 6 a day, you are going to engage in a detox process. So if you take Liviplex 6 a day, start out that high, and you're nauseous and you got a headache, you're taking too much of it. Liviplex is one of those that you don't need a lot of. I never, for what you're saying, prophylactic, I never go above 4 a day of Liviplex. Otherwise, you're going to get a detox push. Now, the other one that I love, and it's so true, and I meant to put that in my notes, that anything with the eyes, you got to think liver. Anything with the ears, you got to think kidney. That's ancient teaching, right? So thank you for that reminder. And I love Livco, the Silymarin, the rosemary, and the Schizandra especially. So so what I would recommend is rotate them. Do a bottle of a couple of Liviplex a day, two once a day or 2 twice a day. Great prophylactic. Or 1 or 2 twice a day of Livco. Rotate bottles. And this is why I also consider for macular degeneration about Gotu-Kola, about bilberry. These products that we've found 90% of the time work, you may need the herbs, the ginkgo in here, the grapeseed in here, which is more of that Cyruta plus, that factor, that rutin factor. You may need bilberry and what it did for those pilots that really saved this world. It's funny to say that an herb, if the British had not won the Battle of Britain, it would be a different world. And because the United States was not coming into the war, it took Japanese to wipe out a good portion of Pearl Harbor to get us into the war. We were not going to help them. We helped them giving them airplanes and guns, but we were not going to bring our men over there. And we were a really conservative country. Britain was on its own. Now, we did help, but without that simple little bilberry jam, they could fight the Germans at night. They could see better. That was the main reason why we won the Battle of Britain, which turned Germany away. So anyway, I'm a real World War II buff. I love to talk about it and why we won, why the world shifted in the right direction. So it is interesting how a simple little nutrients in a simple little berry changed the world. Pretty amazing.
Joseph, one other thing. I just got to give another tout to your brain formula, the Bacopa, the Ginkgo, and the Go-To Cola.
Oh
the
my God, I
liquids.
know it. Don't you love
I made
that?
I did. I'm taking it. It's phenomenal. I've been on it for months, but I made it up for my patients. I have little glass bottles with glass droppers, and I give everybody a sample of it, so they can just take it home, try it, whatever. I'm selling more of this than anything because the people just love it so much. It's fantastic for the brain and microcirculation
Yeah, yeah.
and memory. Bacopa.
Yeah, the cognitive function of Bacopa is truly remarkable. And of course, we know ginkgo's properties and it's again properties, the DNA of the ginkgo, the components of that ginkgo tree has never changed. You talk about, genetics over generations, people getting worse. Well, it's hereditary. Yeah, the genes are getting worse and worse, not ginkgo. Ginkgo is the same genetic makeup as it was in the beginning. It's never changed. So again, that principle, you take that into your body, that strengthens your body as far as holding those right genetic makeup in place. So you're replicating from good genes, not genes that are beginning to break down, and then those break down and age. So ginkgo, and of course Gotu-Kola, it's a great formulation, the Gotu-Kola complex for sure. Yeah. Or the liquid or my blend. It isn't exactly the same, but it has the ginkgo, Gotu-Kola, and Bacopa. Yeah, I applaud all of you when you'll see. I encourage all of you just to mix up a batch. It'll last you almost a year, half a year, those 3 bottles, if you just take it for yourself. Anybody losing their cognitive function, no one that I've given that to said that didn't do anything for me. No one.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a better sales too. I mean, you're not that you're out trying to make money, but you're trying to share and show people. And people are hesitant to buy 3 bottles of liquid that would be probably $200.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is when you have to
In the
become an
sample.
herbalist. Yes, this is truly becoming an herbalist, and you can get certified in herbal medicine through, if you want to, and get into it and have a certification through Texas Chiropractic College, I believe. So, yeah. And have that, not only that on your wall, but you learn so much about these herbs. I took the course. Most of what's in my book is based on what I learned and have tried in everything in my book is what I've tried or used on other people. So, yeah. Well, thank you all very much. I'll be with you next Tuesday. Send me your graphs and we'll get through them and look at them and study your cases. And thank you all for being on today and have a safe rest of the week.
Thank you,
Blessing to you
Joseph.
all. You're welcome.
God
Thank
bless.
you, Joseph.
You're welcome.